Hi there guys, this is Roxy Rich, also known as R Richards, and now I'm going to read you the first chapter from Exposed. It's chapter 1 and it's titled The Persuader. Okay, now this book is about domestic violence. It is quite graphic in places. So, you know, if you've got that's your trigger warning. And also, obviously, if you've been through any of this, any domestic violence in the past, please be aware your mental health does matter. Okay? Right, let's read it. Chapter 1, The Persuader. 7 years ago, I was 18 and in love. It was the kind of love that consumes you. The kind of love that makes you believe in fairy tales. And Matt? He was my prince. Handsome, loving, confident. He had a job with the police force. He made me feel protected, wanted, and loved. When he called me his princess, I believed it. I believed in him. He promised me a bright future. He promised me everything I had always wanted. A stable, happy home filled with unconditional love. I don't know what it was that attracted me to him at first. Maybe it was because he always looked like he was in control. Trouble would sidestep him out of respect. Matt had that quiet confidence of a British copper, polished shoes, unbothered tone, and a dry wit. He was cool, calm, and collected. I thought he was safe. Because in my head, cops like him weren't reckless. They were trained, they followed protocol, they had rules. He wasn't hot-headed. He didn't hold a grudge. No, Matt was calm, level, British. He drank tea instead of punching walls. He gave people warnings. He de-escalated volatile encounters. I thought that made him trustworthy. I thought that meant that he'd be the last person to snap, to become violent. Turns out I was wrong. Home was never a sanctuary for me, not even before my dad died. But after he was gone, it got out of control. The walls that once held minimal warmth turned cold, hollow. It wasn't a house anymore. It was a battlefield. Me versus my mother, every day. We fought over everything. What I said, what I wore, how I looked, who I was becoming. It didn't matter how careful I was, how small I made myself, how much I tried to keep the peace. I was always in the wrong. Every word was like stepping on thin ice, never knowing which one would crack it. 1 second, there would be an uncomfortable silence. The next, we were screaming at each other. Or worse, she'd go quiet and send me to Coventry. It wore me down. I no longer felt safe. I stopped feeling wanted. Eventually, I stopped feeling anything, much at all. Matt, patient, attentive Matt, who listened to every grievance, every tear-soaked frustration about my mother. He held my hand and told me I deserved better, that I deserved to be happy. Then one night he made me an offer that changed everything. You don't have to live like this, Scarlett. Move in with me. The words hung between us with unspoken promises. A real home, a fresh start, a love that wouldn't break me. So I said yes. I packed in a hurry, shoving clothes and keepsakes into suitcases before my mother could say anything to make me doubt my decision. But she didn't try to stop me. Maybe she thought I'd come crawling back. Maybe she was relieved. Either way, I walked out that night, heart pounding, lungs full of exhilaration, and I never looked back. Matt's house was everything mine wasn't. Calm, structured, safe. He had bought it a year earlier, a modest place with muted colours and neatly arranged furniture. And I was to be the lady of the house, as Matt called it. The first few months were bliss. He kissed my forehead before work, wrapped his arms around me at night, bought me small, thoughtful gifts. A book he thought I'd love, a delicate necklace with a silver charm. "You're my princess," he'd whisper, and I'd melt every time. I let myself believe I had found my forever. But love isn't supposed to be a cage. I didn't notice the cage being built until I was already inside it. The missed calls when I was with friends. His voice, soft but insistent. "Hey love, where are you? Just wondering when you'll be home. Everything okay? Been a while since you replied." I thought it was sweet, reassuring. He cared about me. So I answered, every time. And when he started suggesting we stay in instead of going out, it made sense. Why go out when we had everything we needed right here? Then came the rules. "Just text me before you go anywhere, just so I don't worry. That dress is a little short, don't you think? I don't want other guys looking at you. I want you all to myself." One by one, the pieces of my life fell away. I stopped seeing friends. I had jobs I never applied for. Dreams I let go of. Not because he demanded it, but because I chose to please him. Because love was supposed to be all-consuming, wasn't it? The first time he got angry, I hadn't told him I was popping into town. A small thing, insignificant. But when I walked through the door, his face had a red hue of anger. His fists clenched. "Do you know what that did to me?" he snapped. "I was sick with worry, Scarlett. I thought something had happened to you." Guilt crushed over me, drowning me. I'm sorry," I stammered. "I'll let you know next time." His sigh was heavy, his arms warm as he pulled me close. "I just love you so much, Princess. I couldn't live with myself if something happened to you." I thought it was love, but love doesn't suffocate. The changes were gradual. The way his fingers tightened around my wrist when I tried to walk away from an argument. The way his disappointment stung more than his anger. How his words cut, then soothed. Slicing me open, only to stitch me back together. My world grew smaller. He still called me Princess. The man who held me close at night, whispering how much he adored me. The man who made me feel like the centre of his universe. The man I convinced myself would never hurt me. Then came the comments about my appearance. What once were compliments became rules. "I love your hair down, Princess." So I wore it down. "That lipstick is too bold. A soft pink would be prettier." So I changed it. "You smell incredible in that vanilla perfume." So I wore it every single day. It didn't feel like control. I thought it was love. Until one night he surprised me with a dress. A soft cream-coloured dress, modest, delicate, just the way he liked it. Just the way he liked me to be. "Wear this for me," he insisted. His voice left no room for an argument. I smiled as I slipped it on, eager to please. It was only later, standing in front of the mirror, that I realised I hadn't chosen my own clothes in months. Somewhere along the way, I had stopped choosing anything at all. And the scariest part? I was oblivious. As time passed, the honeymoon glow faded, peeling away like old paint on a forgotten wall. I tried to hold on to it, gripping the edges of our fairy tale with desperate fingers. But the more I held on, the more it slipped away. It started with little things, tiny slights that stung, but never bled, just enough to leave behind an ache, that feeling of never being good enough. "You're not going to wear that, are you?" Matt's voice was casual, almost amused. "Is that your plan for the day?" A question, but really an accusation. I didn't see it at first, the slow unravelling of my independence, the way I tiptoed around him, anticipating his moods, calculating my responses. The nights I changed my outfit at the last second. The times I abandoned plans because I could already hear the argument forming in his throat. Looking back, I wonder how I missed it. How I dismissed the way he followed me from room to room, always watching. How he seemed to bump into me by chance whenever I met a friend, as if the city itself bent to his will. It was so gradual, like a shadow creeping across the floor as the sun sets. Silent, inevitable. I found myself apologising for things I hadn't done, scrambling to fix things I didn't understand. Then came the thunder. Every night he'd walk through the door with a storm brewing in his eyes, something dark curling beneath his skin. The slightest thing would set him off. A dish left in the sink, a text I hadn't answered quickly enough. My tone, God, my tone. And when the storm broke, I was the one who drowned. "Why do you stay with me?" I asked once, my voice barely more than a whisper. Matt's eyes softened, and in that moment I almost believed the tenderness. He pulled me close, his lips brushing against my hair. "Because I love you, Princess. I only want the best for you." I wanted to believe him, but something inside me ached, a dull gnawing throb that no amount of whispered promises soothed. Whenever I questioned him, it became a spiral, a full circle argument where I was always the problem. "I'm just looking out for you. I just want us to be happy. You don't understand me." Each word tightened the grip around my world. I started to mould myself into the shape he wanted, convinced that if I just tried harder, we would find our way back to the love we once had. That once again, the fairy tale would consume me. I just had to be better, do more, quieter. I told myself it was love, that love required sacrifice, that love meant change. But love shouldn't feel like a prison. And yet with every passing day, I watched those bars close in, and I had no idea how to get out. That is chapter 1 on Exposed. It does get extremely graphic. It's also a survival manual. I do believe that every woman and girl should read this book, even though it's quite graphic in places. It does have all of the perpetrator titles from the Freedom Programme in the book. It explains how they work, how they behave, how your world comes crashing down on you with domestic violence. It explains about going into a refuge and everything that happens there in family courts. It pretty much explains the whole shebang There are other perpetrators in there as well that are not in the Freedom Programme, like the stalker, and they are all in this book. But as I said, be warned, it is extremely graphic and it is a heavy read. But also it's got a twist at the end that you won't see coming. The heroine is an amazing woman. Like, she's a fighter. And yeah, she's an anti-heroine as well, by the way. She's not what you'd call a good girl, really. But it's definitely worth the read, and I highly recommend this book to everybody. It's not published yet. It's going through the last read through, and then it will be published. So that's Exposed by Roxy Rich. Thank you for listening.